The 12th house is one third of the water ruled houses in astrology. The 4th house is ruled by Cancer, the 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, and the 12th house is ruled by Pisces. All water houses represent the psychological effects of our environment and interactions within that environment. Conditioning, influence, and patterns are some of the circumstances that can be discovered in houses 4, 8, and 12. The 12th house is the spiritual results of the lifelong tests we've endured through the previous 11 houses. Now that we've reached the end, do you feel you have unfinished business, or are you ready to ascend into the next life? The 12th house is considered a mutable house, so your growth or lack of growth will entirely be based on the efforts you make to attain the results you want. All right, welcome back. Let's kick this presentation off with starting with the sign of Pisces. So here I have some attributes of the sign of Pisces. I have a light side and a dark side. The dark side simply means that these are attributes about the sign of Pisces that aren't bad, they just need more awareness or need to be improved on. So starting with intuition, much like the other two water signs, Pisces can be extremely intuitive. They can pick up on someone who is spiritually misaligned. They know exactly where the pain is, whether that's emotionally or physically. They know exactly where it is where a person needs to be healed. Accepting. Pisces can be extremely accepting. They can be accepting of the misgivings of others, the troubles of others. They can be accepting of quote-unquote outcast. Where I give this a safety cone is they're always accepting the flaws of others, which means that the other person can have a lack of growth or even become manipulative behind that because they're able to always receive sympathy from that Pisces. So there is no need for improvement. Transformation. Pisces rules the more nurturing side of transformation, whereas Scorpio rules the more painful side of the transformation. So think self-care when you think of transformation through Pisces. There can be great counselors, tutors, yoga instructors, restoring the spirit, or awakening third eye. And lastly, they can be excellent healers. As I've mentioned, not only for just people who feel or are spiritually misaligned, they can heal people who are spiritually broken. And even physically, Pisces can pick up on people that are in close proximity that need healing. Also think physical ailments, treatments, holistic healing. They can even receive the trust of animals. Coming over to the dark side now, escaping. As many of us know, Pisces are not really rooted too much in reality, so always fantasizing or being in another world. Ways of escaping are seen through Pisces, whether that could be substances, medications, hallucinogens, just not feeling like they're in their body. Victim, and this is not playing a victim, but being a victim. Pisces are very well known to take on the pain of others. So there is a level of suffering that's happening continuously with the Pisces at some level. Subconsciously, they can feel that they deserve this pain. This can bring on low self-esteem, and they can be continuously exhausted, much like the other water signs as well, just from always healing or having to take on the emotional or physical ailments of others. Delusional. Pisces can romanticize how they would like a person to be versus how they actually are. Where I do give this a safety cone for actually being good is they can see the positive in a negative situation. And lastly, I have worry. Pisces are known to continuously be worrying or have their mind wandering. And this can manifest into unfinished projects, being highly critical of themselves, subconsciously wanting things just to be perfect for others. These traits listed come to surface in the 12th house. There is always some level of scrutinization, analyzation, or even discouragement of the self when it comes to the 12th house. Consolidation happens here as well. So many of us, especially with strong Jupiter or 12th house placements, tend to over-criticize ourselves. It's highly likely we also encounter people who lack sensitivity. And the simple answer to that is polarity. Healers attract what needs to be healed. Jupiter is the original ruling planet of Pisces. Modern day astrology assigns Neptune as the ruling planet, but I personally will be representing Jupiter as I like to study and explain origins first before discussing anything else further along. Discussions of Neptune will be further along this channel. Continuing on, I have a simple description of Jupiter. As mentioned, Jupiter is the ruling planet of Pisces and Sagittarius. A complete daily rotation of Jupiter is about 10 hours. A complete orbit around the Sun of Jupiter is about 12 years. The energy of Jupiter is masculine. Jupiter is friends with the Sun, Moon, and Mars. Jupiter is equals with Saturn. And Jupiter is enemies with Mercury and Venus. This simply means that if Jupiter is in conjunction, in opposition, or aspecting with any other planets, or stationed in any particular house ruled by specific planets, there can be heavy influences, good, bad, or neutral, based on the relationship. Jupiter represents spirituality. It can represent escapism, self-analysis, and expansion, just to name a few. So here I have some astral facts on the planet Jupiter and how it manifests into the self, or how it shows up in your chart. So Jupiter is the largest and oldest known planet in the solar system. My astral interpretation is Jupiter represents the age, wisdom, and experience that makes us become the guru or masters of our destiny. Although Jupiter is the fastest planet to make a daily rotation, a complete orbit around the Sun is slow. My astral interpretation is Jupiter represents how fast an individual can excel in whatever pursuits they make, but inevitably the life path or lesson in their journey will take time to understand. Jupiter is known to have powerful magnetic fields and extreme radiation. It can be so strong any particles in its proximity with electrical charges will receive a surge. My astral interpretation is Jupiter's influence can be so powerful it can greatly affect or even dominate those in its environment. And that can be intellectually, socially. If you have strong Jupiterian influence, no matter what you do, it cannot be hidden to others. It will be seen. The colorful bands that surround Jupiter are a mix of sulfur and phosphorus gases. These bands are visible due to how fast the planet is spinning. My astral interpretation is Jupiter represents the greatness in an individual that cannot be ignored. It also represents the ego that has to be managed or it can become uncontrollable. Jupiter is about the expansion of self, whether that is spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or even physically. Where you are being challenged to grow, or more importantly, where you're being guided to grow, centers around the influence of Jupiter. In the 12th house, think of all the energies accumulating from the houses in the past. And now that all of the energy is here, what did you learn? Or do you have any regrets? Are you satisfied with your outcomes? A visual image of the 12th house is those final hours you have remaining and you begin to reflect on your life. Do you feel fulfilled, or are you leaving a lot of incompleteness? The 12th house rules substances and escaping because many of us want to run away from not only the mundane world, but run from our own regrets, our own decisions or lack of decision making, our devotion to healing others, or how we neglected or even sickened ourselves because we were so busy trying to help others. So there is much discouragement and self-doubt that it creates worry and fear. I explained that Jupiter is a bold and hard to ignore planet. So how is it that doubt, fear, and escaping can crowd the 12th house where Jupiter encapsulates this atmosphere? Well, as I mentioned, the 12th house is a mutable house. You yourself has full control of the outcome in the 12th house, in all mutable houses. While the lessons and the hardships are the strongest, this is where resilience is established. Because if you can make it through and pass the test the divine is issuing you, you will ascend to that master level and it will be rewarding. So now that we've gone over the sign of Pisces and the ruling planet of Pisces, which is Jupiter, I would like to go over the common 12th house, or things that we usually see or surface in the 12th house. So first I have gains, and that could be material gains, your legacy, your success in life, or how you look back on your life and the things that you've accomplished. Fantasies. Think idealism, think having a big imagination, having no boundaries. Living in a peaceful setting, whether that's in a forest or near water around animals, which can be peaceful. Think solitude. Institutions are also seen in the 12th house. So that's government entities, financial institutions. Think hospitals, convents, wellness centers, temples, places of restoration. And this leads me right into spirituality. Having spiritual practices is seen in the 12th house. Crystals, meditation, all types of healing. Third eye awakening. Heaven. And this isn't centered around just the afterlife, but what did you do in this present life to create that beautiful afterlife for yourself? Were you good natured? Did you help others? Were you performing acts of service, charitable acts? What was your relationship with the divine? Did you pay it forward? And lastly, here I have traditional relationships, which can be seen in the 12th house. That could be just a happy marriage, the go-to couple, meaning that all your other friends who are married seem to come to you guys for advice because you guys seem to have it well. Think white picket fence or living in the suburbs, having a standard 9 to 5 job, or maybe mom stays home and you guys have healthy and happy kids. This is all seen in the 12th house. The complex 12th house. All of the houses have a not so bright, not so happy, darker side, just like how there is a dark and a light side to each of the signs that needs to be addressed, or these things could happen if we're not doing our due diligence to improve. So expenditures, past life debts, karmas is definitely seen in the 12th house. Expenses, debts, what we owe to others, loans, material losses, bills. This is all seen in the 12th house. A reality or the reality check. Think the labor that we put in for others. Think rat race, the sadness that we have because of this daily hamster wheel that we seem to be spinning on. Nightmares, our loss of identity, not feeling like we're contributing to society or feeling like we are a nobody to society. We have nothing to offer. Disorganization. So think prison institutions, isolations, incarceration, asylums, hidden enemies. All of this is seen in the 12th house. As I've mentioned earlier in the presentation, escaping is something that is of the Piscean nature. So when we're talking about escaping, we're not just also talking about peaceful retreats or taking time to meditate or go for a walk. Think substances, drinking or spirits or taking spirits, running away from your problems, addictions, self-medicating, hell. And this is not just, the afterlife and where you can go in the afterlife. It's also the things of what you have done here that created this pathway to a not so pleasant afterlife. So that could be your regrets, the incomplete work you've left behind, the broken promises and broken hearts you've left, using others or manipulating others, or the terrible intentions that you had when you did things. And lastly, I have unconventional relationships. This can be seen in the 12th house. So think unusual living arrangements, like living separately, or a common law marriage, or something is very unique about the relationships that you have. It could be eloping, different cultures, different religions. Particularly it's not the most common thing for a man to actually stay home and handle the household labors while the woman works. That could be something that could be seen here. It's something that's not, it's unconventional. It's not usually the normal, and this could be seen in the 12th house. So what does a healthy 12th house look like? What does a house that is thriving and you are in your purpose and you are happy and you don't feel like you have to put up boundaries look like? What does a house of spiritual alignment look like? Here I have listed some remedies that I personally think is really good in helping to strengthen your 12th house, or if you even have strong Jupiterian placements. The first one I have here is act without thinking. Although Jupiter sets the aura in the 12th house, as I've mentioned, self doubt, worry, and just being overly critical of yourself, it comes to surface in this house. So, a lot of this comes from a good place or wanting to do well or you mean well. So, sometimes just doing things without overthinking it is vital. Your intentions is what means the most. Developing a meditation or a window to connect to a higher power. 12th house has a lot to do with mysticism and spiritual ascension. So there are so many ways that you can just take time to center your thoughts and connect to the divine, whether it's through prayer, it's through meditation, joining a group to help you there. There are so many ways where you can create that opening or that connection to the spiritual realm. Escape to safe places you can return from. As I've mentioned, escapism can have so many representations, especially in the 12th house, where again, we're doing things that can harm us instead of actually helping us. Example, like taking on substances, self-medicating, or running away from our problems. Some of the healthy ways we can escape is to take a vacation, taking time to smell the roses, going for a walk, taking a real lunch break, going to the park. Don't guilt trip. What this simply means is be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself. People with strong 12th house placements or strong Jupiterian placements are really hard on themselves. And, you know, even if you're doing a million and one things for people, sometimes people with strong 12th house placements or strong Jupiterian placements still feel that if they can't satisfy one thing for someone after they've done a million and one things, they'll feel terrible about it and obsess about it and worry about it. So be kind to yourself and understand that, again, it starts with intentionality. You always mean well and you'll be fine. And lastly, I have find or nurture your calling. We all have a passion or a hobby or something that we enjoy doing, but life gets real, and unfortunately those hobbies, they get neglected. So finding time to answer what is meant for you can be life changing, because you never know, that hobby that just never seems to leave you, that you can't get to, can actually be your calling to the life that you've always wanted for yourself. And we've reached the end of this presentation. Before I close out, I would like to summarize the opposing house of the 12th house, which is the 6th house. And I like to call this residuals of the 6th house. Imagine the discipline or the work you put in and the time you take to perfect your craft, or you've become skillful at something, but you still feel unfulfilled. You still pick apart yourself. You still diminish your talents. This can be the residuals of the 6th house. Criticizing your work is criticizing yourself. Much of the 6th house centers around work. In the same way we want to perfect our craft or present our projects in the best way that we can, our constant need to improve, nitpick, or even be perfect is really you criticizing yourself and not so much what you've produced. The doubt in your skills is the doubt in yourself. This fits right into my next point. Lack of respect in society is a lack of respect for yourself. Lack of recognition or praise for the work you do or contribute to can make you feel inadequate, and it's a direct correlation to how you're showing up in society. In some way, you may feel unfulfilled, that you don't have anything to offer, or there's nothing that there's nothing substantial that you've contributed to, or you've put enough work in for society to respect you. The way you self-medicate to cope, detaching, overworking, isolation, the same ways we use to turn our minds off in society is the same ways that we can do it when it comes to work. We can be actually substituting one thing for the other, maybe spending all of our time at work just to detach from what's going on in our personal life, or just the other way around, not really doing our best work because our personal life is so overwhelming. Establishing your relationship with service or labor. How do you see labor? Do you see it as a duty that needs to be fulfilled or something that you love or you take pride in? Do you see it as something that you don't have a choice to do and in some way you fear what will happen if you don't complete this act of service or this act of labor? You may be overly of service in your line of work or just when it comes to doing things for people, you just really do not have a limit. And the way you do anything is the way you do everything. You could be a caretaker of some sort, and it's not even your occupation to do so. Even with strong 12th house placements, you can actually take on occupations where you feel like you are a caretaker to people who are destitute. I would like to thank everyone for taking the time out to watch this presentation, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.